here is a quick look at Scripture Notes, and I will try to make it relatively quick. I get excited about sharing Scripture Notes because it is kind of a life-changing experience to study the Scriptures this way. It just really invites more revelation, and I think you'll see what I mean as I go through here. So on the left, we've got the navigation for the app. You've got a library, which you can see what's in there and you can manage it. You can say, well, I don't want the LDS scriptures or, certain documents and stuff, and you can save that and it'll disappear from your library. You can open up search pane and collection notes, and really these three buttons drive most of the app. This is to access your tag tree, which you'll see. This is a to-do list that's built into the app, so you can create your own sets of projects if you want. But really the meat of the program is the search and the collection list. Reading, to me, is preliminary to doing searches, because we've been commanded to search the scriptures, but we haven't had a really good search tool until now. So I'll show you what I mean. I'll just open up randomly to 1 Nephi 1. And when this comes up here, what I can do in any chapter, anywhere that scriptures are visible, you'll have this button that you can expand and see all of the notes that you have for those verses. You can type as much as you want in these spaces, and then it'll just scroll there. So you can mark stuff up. You can come in here, and I'll just let's see. I'll just pick this word. I have built in Webster's 1828 dictionary, so you click that, and you can instantly get Webster's 1828 definitions that you can read and copy paste back into this if you wanted. I also have a thesaurus and an etymology dictionary. And then, of course, there's the markup: bold, italicized, underline, double underline, text coloration, and back highlighting coloration. And then the last item on there is to clear that. So you can mark your scriptures up and stuff, but really, the greatest thing about Scripture Notes is as you're reading along, you can type all the questions you have about a verse, and then you can type the answers. You can search for the answers. You can create collections of verses that help you to better understand those things. So, for example, a couple of things that you can do. You can go into study helps here, and President Nelson has said we should study the topics on Jesus Christ. And so I just typed Jesus up there, and it immediately found all the topical guide entries that contain the word Jesus. And so I can click on one of these, I'll just do baptism here, and there's 8 verses. So I can mark when I've actually studied it. I can create a collection note from these verses, or I could click one to go to it. So I'll just show you a collection note created from a topical guide entry here. You would click this, and up comes a collection note, which I can also expand. And now I can study that topic, create a master note, and save it with a title, tag, category, and I can type whatever I want in here. If I want more space to type, I can do that. I can actually hide the editor up here, so I just maximize the scripture area, and I can again study now by topic. It's a fantastic way to study. But let's say I'm reading along and I see this word language, and I wonder, where else is the word language used? I can come in here and do a search for language, and I can put a wildcard at the end. So I could pick up language and languages. There's better examples down here, like tree and righteousness. You could do a wildcard search, so I'd pick up tree and trees, and it would have to be verses that have the word righteousness in it. Let's see, you can also use quote marks like all we and astray. So it's got to find that phrase and that word in the verse. Or prick and heart. I was just doing some research on that and writing a blog post. So that would pick up all verses that have prick, pricked, pricks, and heart or hearts in those verses. You can just see this is my search history. So that's another cool thing, is you can keep track of your history, what you've searched for in your scriptures or your verse notes or a collection note. So if I just hit search here, and we'll just see what comes up on this search for language. So there are 152 verses. This is another powerful thing about Scripture Notes is it doesn't just display 10 results. I have all the verses here, and I can go down through them and mark them up and study them together. And there are some awesome things you can do from these scripture views. Like I can create a collection note from these 152 verses, any topic. And so when I create that collection note, all those verses appear here. And again, I can title it, tag it, and type as much as I want about these things. I can even do a new search over here for something else. I'll just do I and single. And so when this search comes up, okay, so there's 10 verses. If I said, now these don't have anything to do with each other, but I can even say, oh, I want to bulk move all of those verses into this collection note. I could drag and drop them in here and they get added. So now you can like do multiple different searches and combine them into one collection, and now you've got your verse count, including those. So from any verse, if you want to dive deeper into a verse, here's a verse in Genesis. I can click the links button. I can see that verse on Bible Hub with 29 different translations of the verse. Bible Hub's an awesome website that also contains like commentary from a number of Christian brilliant scholars. So if you want to study deeper a little bit on a particular verse that's hard to understand, you can go to this parallel commentaries and see a whole bunch of commentaries on that verse. So that's built in. Blue Letter Bible is one of my favorite sites because out here you just click that link and hit Strong's, and now you can come in here and see all the Hebrew or Greek meanings for words. And so it's just instant access to that. We also have the LDS Citation Index. So I click that and it takes me right to Genesis 11, where I can find what the prophets and apostles have said in conferences and the Journal of Discourses and ancient older conferences on that. And I also have, this is a cool project, I have the full Joseph Smith translation linked to, including this inline version of it, which shows in green what Joseph added and in red what he struck out and how he modified the JST. So all those things are like instant resources from Scripture Notes verses. And so like as you create these collections and study this way, you're going to develop your own tag tree. So these are all things that I've tagged that, and you can sub-tag as well. So I can create like a second level of tags and then to just organize it, and then I can click on any of these to open up the collection note that I've done for that particular topic. And so I can access that from a verse right here. If I see a green eye, it means I've got a collection note for that verse, or from the tag area, or from doing a search for it. So it's just, I'm passionate about this. It's just a great way to study the scriptures, because now you can finally study by topic, and you can open up as much content as you want, as you can see. Another thing that we've added, which is an amazing resource, when you go to a particular chapter, there's a resource button up here, and you can click that resource button, and up comes Come Follow Me podcasts. So I can click on one of these and say, oh, I want to watch this video right next to my scriptures while I study, so I can take notes on the particular topic or the particular chapters that I'm studying. And so it's just, there's nothing like this available elsewhere. It's just a great way to study and chock full of resources, and something that's coming. One of the things we're going to do next is the ability to share collection notes. So you put together a set of verses and some notes, and you want to share it with people, you'll be able to do that. You'll even have the ability to say, okay, I want, even though like you can see my markup here for a couple of these verses, I'm going to add the ability so that within a collection note, you can toggle between your markup and a collection note specific set of markup if you want to do something just special for that set of collection notes or verses in a collection note. And that way, when you share it, you can share just the specific markup for that note. So if you said, well, I want to highlight all the words that say language, all the words that are in here that say language, or whatever it is, however you want to mark it, you can share it that way. You can also, when you're, 162 verses is a lot of verses. And so as you're going through studying this topic, you might say, oh, well, there's a few key verses. I want this to be one of my favorites. I need to save it first here. Let me hit test. So I have to save the verse in order to activate the favorites. But now that it's, it is, oh, there, it just finished saving. Okay. So now I hit favorite, and this is going to get a little gold star here in a sec as soon as it registers that. And up at the top, there we go, it's going to put that verse in my favorites. So as I'm going down through these verses studying, I might say, oh, there's like 5 key verses. I'm going to click on it and put that at the top. So anytime I come back here, I see the most important verses as my key verses at the top. Super handy if I ever have to create a talk or do a lesson and I pull this up and I'm like, oh, what are the most important verses? I don't want to study 162 verses again. Well, they're right there at the top. So that's another feature that you can access. You can also drag and drop verses, and in your search results, you can see verses in context. So I could say like, I'm just going to delete this note. I could say, oh, I want to see the next verse after D&C 27:2. So I hit this button, and right there it is. Verse 3 pops in. So within your search results, you can get, or a collection note, you can get a verse in context by seeing the next or previous verse. So anyway, I'll quit rambling. It's so exciting to study this way and be able to record all your thoughts next to these verses as you study, and have access to them at all times. We have a mobile app as well. It's not as powerful as this in terms of being able to see everything, but at once, but it is very powerful. It contains all of these core features. So there's a section to do searches, a section for reading, a section for collection notes, and you can toggle back and forth between them, and it's really powerful. I kind of view mobile as more of a recall tool when I go to church or something, and I love working on my desktop in the morning because I can just see more. But the mobile app is very powerful. All right. Feel free to shoot me back any questions. Feel free to share this video with anyone you want. I'm excited to continue to develop Scripture Notes and really turn it into just an amazing program for people to use. So thanks for watching.